everyone, it's your girl Miracle Sims, and you are watching God, Sex, and Love. Friends, tonight is very special. We're going to get a little more intimate. As you guys know, we are God, Sex, and Love. And so we are not shy about the topic and idea of sex. So tonight, we're actually going to chit-chat with the owners of a unique store called Romantic Blessings. They would be considered what you would think of as an intimacy or sex toy store, things like that. However, this store is rather unique because it is Christian based. So if you all are ready to hear a conversation about this wonderful store, Romantic Blessings, then stay tuned. Welcome back to God, Sex, and Love. As you all can see, I am here with Mr. Blair of RomanticBlessings.com. Hi, Mr. Blair. How are you?
Hi, Miracle. How are you? Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Thank you all for having me. I know I sent a random email, I want to say, a few months ago?
And, about that, yeah.
I appreciate you all responding and everything like that. I mean, long story short, as you guys know, God, Sex, and Love, we try to talk about God, sex, love, and everything in between. And I feel like we're on the same track as well. Can you share a little bit more about Romantic Blessings to
Yeah, sure. So again, thanks for having us. We're really proud to be here and proud to be associated with you and your ministry and what you're doing. And so real excited for you, and we'll keep praying for your ministry. But Romantic Blessings is a Christian intimacy and sex toy store. So we target married couples, and our goal is, there's a lot of toy stores out there. Believe it or not, the sex toy industry is about $56 billion worldwide. But the majority of that is all focused on the secular industry. And what we've come across is, for Christian married couples, there's no safe environment, or very few. We have some competitors. There's some good ones out there, but there's very few safe environments for Christian married couples to go shop if they want to, without being just bombarded with lustful imagery of pornography or things like that. So our store is dedicated. If you come to and shop on our store, you won't find any models in any of the pictures. There's no imagery. I've personally gone through over the 30,000 plus images we have on our site to make sure that we believe they're Christian safe. There are certain toys we don't carry that we believe kind of go against what we believe the Bible says about marriage intimacy. So you won't find any toys that are lifelike or that are molds of other people or things like that, because we don't want to introduce a third party, even just through imagination, into the married sex life. So we believe we have a safe environment, and our store is all about, there's a sex toy component to it. We sell lots of other things. Our goal is to help husbands and wives grow closer together as God intended, through the gift of sex and intimacy and the sharing in that relationship.
There you go, man. I think that's great. I appreciate you all for doing what you're doing. I guess that's kind of what I'm doing to a certain extent too, is just in the conversation, because I feel like sex is just so taboo in the Christian community, and part of me doesn't understand why, because I know we just were chit-chatting a minute ago, because it's something that everybody does. Right. And everyone is a result of.
It all happens, and it's throughout the Bible. I mean, if you read anywhere in the Bible, it's throughout the Bible. And, I personally believe, I would, like you said, we were chatting a few minutes ago before we came on air. And, I grew up in a Christian home. My father was a minister. He's retired now, but served the Lord faithfully for 50 something years. I grew up in that. But, as I was growing up, in the churches, in my father's church or other churches just did not talk about sex, and they didn't talk about sex and marriage, at least not. They may have a marriage counseling, but never from the pulpit. And as like you and I were saying, if Christians aren't the ones talking about it and talking about how much of a blessing it is and how important it is to marriage, then the only people talking about it is the secular world. And you get into a very warped sense of what sex is and what it should be. And I believe Christians need to stand up and talk about the importance of sex and the importance of sex only within marriage, and how God intended it. So we love what you're doing with your store. That's why we agreed to come on. We love the message you're doing, and that's the mission of our store, is to talk openly, but try to bring couples together, because it is a gift from God in your marriage.
Exactly. I totally agree. I had a previous conversation with the couple, and we were talking about that exact thing about the importance of sex in marriage. And I was like, okay, well, I'm on team more married sex. I think plays.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I understand that, like, sometimes different couples have different drives, and like maybe the husband has more drive or the wife has more drive. There's a lot of factors when it comes to this subject, but again, I mean, I think being open to try new things and maybe even experimenting or partaking of some of the wares and things that you all have. I mean, right. I don't think there's anything wrong with that in a marriage, but I mean, some people still do. But
obviously there's opinions out there. Even within the Christian community, there's opinions on all ends of the spectrum about what's good and bad. But again, if you read through the Song of Songs in the Bible, there are verses that talk about enjoy your fill, enjoy it till you can't get it anymore. And it doesn't say limit to just this type of sex or that type of sex. It says a man and a woman should enjoy it. And why should all the secular people be having all the fun? There's no reason a Christian can't either. And we kind of based our store off of 1 Corinthians 7:5, that talks about, a couple should stay together, come together, except in a time of prayer. And it goes on to say that if you're not always coming together, and everybody can interpret a verse a different way for sure, but my interpretation of that is be together intimately all the time, except when you're in prayer. But the verse goes on to say, so that the devil can't bring sin into your life. And so when you're not there, or when you're not together, that's when men could lust for other women lust for other men. But if you're together intimately all the time, as we believe that verse is talking about, it's a great way to keep the devil out of your marriage.
Come on, look, Mr. Blair, you better say. Exactly. Keep the devil out your marriage, man.
That's right. And it's fun too. I mean, I've never seen anybody not enjoy sex. So what's the problem with it, right?
I mean, hey, like I said, different people have different opinions and everything like that. But I don't know. I think if you can't have fun with your spouse, then who?
Right.
I feel also that this is, when it comes to that, or when it comes to having sex with your spouse, I just feel like that's who you're supposed to have this type of relationship with. That's who you're supposed to have this fun with. That's who you're supposed to be, I guess, experimenting with, whatever the case is. And that threat of the devil coming in any way, tempting anyone in any way when you're not together in that way. So, I mean, I feel like it's important, but at the same time too, I know sometimes, again, people have their differing opinions, and maybe for whatever reason, people don't, how can I say, like, I don't know if they think there's something wrong with sex, or that there's something bad about it. But I think maybe it's because you just hear so much that you're not supposed to do it, right?
Exactly.
But I guess the thing is like, okay, but yeah, until you're married. And then when you're married,
Right.
hey, go, you know, that's how I feel. But who knows? I mean, maybe
I think you're right. If you think about, you know, I was talking about the churches, especially when I was growing up, and I think there are more churches today talking about sex from the pulpit, but it's still few and far between. You're from the South, I'm from the South, the Bible Belt. It's not talked about a lot. And, you know, what was talked about is what you just said, right? Don't have sex. Don't do this. Don't do. And so a young lady or a young man growing up their entire life, all they're hearing is don't. Sex is bad. Sex is this. You know, it's not good. It's whatever. So that by the time they get married, you know, they're conditioned that everything about sex is bad. And then how do they, you know, that's why a lot of young couples struggle. I mean, we all know the divorce rate's over 50% right now in the country. And, you know, it's not all because of sex, but it's all because of that intimacy. And I think we're told so many times, don't. When all the other people, you know, if we were told sex is awesome, sex is great, explore, be intimate, do whatever you can, it helps bring the couples together, but only do it within the confines of marriage, I believe the church would have a different impact on the world by spreading that type of message. And that's the message we want to spread, right? I don't think, you know, at the same time, I think as you explore toys, because people do have different ideas, or a certain type of toy, or a certain sex position, or whatever it is, right? I also honestly believe that it's okay as long as your spouse is okay with it. So our recommendation, or what we try to help couples understand, is pray about it, talk together, be open. You know, I do believe it's a sin if a man is trying to coerce his wife into doing something she doesn't want to do. Just the same for the wife, right? Beyond that, if it's agreed to within the confines of marriage, and you're not bringing somebody else into your marriage, and you're keeping lust out and all that, I believe the Bible's pretty clear that sex in a marriage is pretty wide open, right? So, and we want to encourage that.
Yeah. I definitely agree with you with that. I mean, again, like you said, I definitely feel like it's the husband and the wife and what they agree to and everything like that. Yeah, now I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I mean, I know again that, but see, I guess that, like you said, I mean, it can be sin when, you know, if you're trying to force this or that on the person or something like that, or if there is no agreement or understanding or something. Then, but that's where it comes with communication, like you just said. So I definitely
gotta communicate. And you know, think about it like this. So the marriage vow is to have and to hold. And if you really go through what all the different, you know, there's 4 or 5 different vows you take. One's to have and to hold, sickness and the health, all those things. But to have and to hold is the sexual part of the vow. And I don't think a lot of couples that come together see that or understand it. But it's I want to have you. I also want to hold you, right? And so, you know, you're committing yourself, your body. You join together as one. It's no longer just your body, right? It's both of yours together. And we always give the example of, you know, when I make that promise to you as my spouse, like I did to my wife when I got married, right? I'm promising I'm never going to have sex with anybody else ever again. Only my spouse, only my wife. Now, if just for a minute, think about if you walk into Baskin Robbins or any ice cream store now that has 100-something flavors, right? And my spouse told me you can only have vanilla for the rest of your life, and that's it, right? Then how am I ever going to experience all the other flavors? Because I've made a commitment. I'm only to my spouse. I'm never going to anybody else. So when a spouse says no to another spouse, they're basically denying that experience to their spouse for the rest of their life. And again, you can't I'm not saying force your spouse and you have to agree to everything your spouse wants to do or try, But I'm saying you should at least be open to considering it and talking about it and having a conversation and understand that you're it for your spouse. And don't keep something from your spouse if it's something you can lovingly do that's within the confines of marriage.
Mr. Black, you just said something right there. I hope the people was listening there. That was good. Man, that is so true. I agree with you wholeheartedly about that. Because again, like I said, I again with the other couple that we were talking, it does come up the whole idea that, sometimes maybe again drives may be different and stuff like that, but at the same time too, if someone is constantly being denied or something like that, then what position are you putting them in? And I mean, the Bible do say, not to do that,
Yeah, it does. It says, don't withhold. So, and again, I want to be careful. I don't want people to misconstrue my words. If a man's being abusive or a man's, whatever, that's a totally different story. I'm not saying about that. And we don't know when you come to a marriage, you may have had an abusive experience before that it impacts you and affects you. But that's where I say seek counseling, talk to your spouse. Your spouse has got to be understanding, and that, now you're not withholding. You've got a serious something in your past that you both need to deal with. But I still think it's something you should pray about, you should talk about. And if it's something you can do or can enjoy, the Bible, in my view, is enjoy sex. God gave it to you as a gift and wants you to enjoy it, right?
Yeah. So. I agree. Hey, that's good reiterating that point as well, friends. Listen to Mr. Blair. He can dropping a lot of wisdom, a lot of jewels today. So, Mr. Blair, now I've perused the website a few times. Unfortunately, I haven't become a full-on customer yet. I need to go ahead and place me some orders.
There.
Can you share a little bit? I think you did kind of share a little bit, but can you give like a little more detail about like what your site has? And
yeah, absolutely. So first of all, I'll give you just a little background on our store, if that's okay. So we just opened the store in late January of 2020. So we haven't even been open a year yet. So we're starting out from scratch and trying to grow. And love partnerships with like yours and appreciate the support. But in all honesty, my wife and I, just a background where the store came from. So a year ago, in May of 2019, my wife and I were celebrating our 21st anniversary last year. But sometime in May, I don't remember exactly, but something just triggered in us that we didn't have the marriage that we both thought we should have. And it wasn't that anything was bad. I mean, we weren't, it's not like we were cheating on each other or lying, none of that. It's just in 20 something years, we kind of grew apart. She was doing her thing. I do my thing. We've got an upstairs and a downstairs. I'd watch TV downstairs. She's doing her thing upstairs. And just all of a sudden it hit us that we just weren't as close or as tight as we wanted to be. And so we decided to go get some marriage counseling, and I recommend it to anybody. It doesn't mean you're a psychopath if you go get counseling. I've been there. Normal people get counseling also, but we look for Christian marriage counseling. It had to be Christian focused. We did that, and then we started listening to some Christian marriage podcasts and shows, just like yours, but some different podcasts and things. And what we learned listening to those about how, one partner should not be a gatekeeper of sex to another, and about how you should give of yourself. The whole concept of marriage is not what's in it for me. It's what can I do for you? Right. Which, by the way, if you have that attitude, is great to open it up and exploring about sex, right? What can I do for you? Not what's in it for me. Yeah. But we grew so much closer. There's such a difference in our life. And we joined some of the forums. We got engaged in some of these forums where married couples are coming in, asking questions, and all kind of things. And through that process, I started feeling God call on my heart that I wanted to do something to give back to Christian married couples, like I felt these podcasts and the counselor had given to us and helped our marriage. And through that, I kept searching, like, what can I do? And I wrestled this in my heart with God for about 3 or 4 months. And, my background, I'm been in business, executive of a lot of companies. I've got a pretty strong business background. So as we were participating in some of these forums, one thing that kept coming up over and over and over again were Christian married couples were saying, hey, we're listening to all of you, all these podcasters talk about how we need to increase our sex and intimacy, but there's no place we can go shop where we're not looking at images or pornography or whatever. And all of a sudden, one night in my prayers, it kind of clicked. God, you're pulling me to do something. I've got a business background. People are saying they can't find a safe place to go shop for toys or other lingerie. Go to a lingerie store. You can't go in Victoria's Secrets or anywhere online that there aren't models and things that could drive a man to lust or have lustful thoughts, right? So we decided to put this store together about August or September of last year. And my wife and I started researching the wholesalers and wholesale distributors and all these things. And God kept opening connections for us. He'd introduce us to one person that would go, what a great idea. We've never seen this in the industry before. This be awesome. We'll help you however we can help you. And so we just started making connections, and it's all due to God. We were able to open the store in January. It's really hard for us to grow because all the social media sites, Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, we can't advertise on any of those sites because they block any store that sells any type of adult product. They don't differentiate whether we're Christian or not. It's just you're selling adult products. So everything we do is word of mouth. We can do some Google ads, some PPC, but everything else we're not allowed to advertise. So, we've grown. We're growing. I hope we continue to grow. We've had over 20,000 unique visitors to our store this year. We've only been open for 8 or 9 months, and that's all God. It's nothing with us. And so that's a little background on our store. I know that's not what you asked, but there's a little background.
I appreciate you sharing that. Because honestly, I can relate in a lot of ways to some of the things you were saying in regards to being led to do something, then struggling with it. Like, did you really tell me to just do this? And so I get that whole thing. And then, but also, like you said, the confirmation of him bringing people your way and opening up the door and stuff like that. So I totally get it. I'm right there with you all. And, I'm glad that you guys stepped out on faith and did, what you were led to do. I mean, obviously, you guys are, creating a great and safe place again for people. I think it just kind of shocked me just now when you said that you can't advertise on the social media platforms, because I'm seeing as much stuff as you see on these social media platforms.
It's amazing. Yeah, I think a lot of it, honestly, I think a lot is pretty hypocritical because you see a lot out there, but and I don't want to get on the political side of that conversation, but the simple fact is we're blocked, and we're not trying to compete with the big guys. There's a lot of big guys, even Amazon. If you go shop on Amazon, right, you will get flooded with pornography and naked women, naked models, even on Amazon. So we're not competing with those. We're not even trying to. If you want to go shop and see pornography and that's your game, then that's fine, but that's not who we want to be. And so, you asked what we do on our store. I'll tell you some of the things I'm most proud of that we just started just recently. I've been able to edit and curate. One of our suppliers has given us access to a lot of their education videos that they have. And I've spent hours and hours going through every second of these videos and cutting out parts that I thought would be against the Christian faith. And we put these videos up as resources on our website. So, if you and your wife or your spouse, if you know nothing about shopping for toys, is your first time, you can come to our site. We have a whole video collection of education material where you can come and learn and explore new ideas and at least talk together with your spouse about it, right? We have your blog and your whole thing, your whole is a partnership up on our store, but we have different resources out there for people to come and educate themselves. And I'm probably more proud of that than I am being able to sell a toy, because we want to help educate people. But we have lingerie, we have toys, we have essential oils. We sell Christian books. I've got a partnership with a Christian book distributor, so you can come buy books from us about Christian marriage and intimacy in marriage. We sell massage tables and massage oils, and so it's not all just sex toys. We're looking to put the whole intimacy package together. But the bigger thing is the resources we want to provide. And I will tell you one thing we're real proud of that I think where we're different than most other stores out there is we do take 10% of all of our earnings and tithe those back to a Christian mission. So when you're buying from us, you're helping support us a little bit. And it does, as you and I were talking, it takes some money to run these things, right? It's not free. But we still take, the Bible says you should tithe 10%. And so we pick different causes that we donate that 10%, tithe that 10% to.
That's awesome, man. I think that's great. It sounds like a awesome resource that you all have created on romanticblessings.com. I'm so happy, affiliated or whatever the case is. I'm excited for, different ideas and things that we can bounce off each other and do, because again, I just feel like adding to this conversation, not even just, for me, I guess I'm just kind of sparking conversations, but for you all, you guys are enhancing the conversation by providing material, providing books, providing, just more information across the board for, Christian couples in particular. And I think that's great. You know your target and you set your sight on your target. I don't feel like anything's wrong with that.
That's right. Yeah, we try not to stray outside.
Because your love has set me free. I'm alive.
Thank you so much for watching God, Sex, and Love. I hope you all enjoyed the conversation today. And special thanks to Mr. Blair for being just a well of knowledge. I think that what him and his wife is doing is an amazing, amazing thing, especially for us Christians. So feel free to check them out, romanticblessings.com.
Everyone is stuck at home, but life is still happening around us every day. Birthdays, anniversaries, holidays, and celebrations. Send your friends and family the gift of wine from the comforts of home. Wine shop at home with Miracle of Wine. Wine, gift baskets, wine accessories, and more at miracleofwine.com.